I'm going to draw a map and try to help my aunt understand. Down here at the bottom, we're going to say this is Cedar Point Road. So, just draw a long line. All right. Cedar Point. Okay, so this is the main road where you're going down. So you're going to come down this way and you're going to see like Sheffield and Sheffield Oaks, and there's a lot of Sheffields out in that area until you're going to get about halfway down the road, halfway to probably Pumpkin Hill. We'll put down here at the end Pumpkin Hill. So you're going to get about halfway to Pumpkin Hill and you're going to come to a dirt trail that doesn't have a name. And you're going to go up there straight, and then there's a turn, slight turn, and you're going to keep going straight. And then you're going to take a deep turn, and that's my grandmother's driveway. And then here, this will be the creek. And so all of this here would be my grandmother's property. This is all property owned by my grandmother, and this is a driveway that heads into it. There's a fence that separated it off. And then we had this big area back in here was mostly marsh. We didn't do anything with it. And then right in the middle would have been the trailer. And then on the outskirt of the trailer would have been the telephone lines. Back in the back of the half, we used to have a field where we grew things. We had grapevines and things, so there was a big field my grandfather would have to plow. And then over in the corner, there was right by the water, is where he kept his cars and things. And also there was a big tree. See right here, where we tried to build me a tree house. And back in here is where he kept his cars and also my go-kart. And then it was all water and marsh. So you're turning in there to go, and so our driveway was also Keith and Jackie's driveway. So you go about halfway up our driveway, and then before you get to the big gate that was our driveway, you would hit another driveway, and that would go up and around this way a little bit, and then you had Keith and Jackie's plot. And they had horses, so they had a little bit of land out there. So back to the main road, if you had kept going straight up, and then there was a right turn, a turn this way, you're going to find a driveway that goes this way, a driveway that goes straight up, and a driveway that goes this way. Now, the driveway that goes this way travels all the way around a bend, and this is where the Indian area was. And a whole bunch of people lived out there that we never knew. And then if you keep going up this way, and also there's going to be more water. The creek that started down here is going to come all the way up. And so the Indians are going to be up here on that creek, little area themselves. And then this up here would have been where the people who were trying to buy our land was, and they were trying to connect all of this here to all of this down here. And also there's right below them, there's people here, and then there's people this way, and this is they've got some RVs living here. This over here, there was a very nice lady who looked like Loretta Lynn. I don't know, I always forget her real name. She was a very sweet lady. When I last saw her, she was taking care of her husband who was dealing with dementia. So, and she had been there for decades. So when my aunt tells you that there were no neighbors, this is a map and a layout of the neighbors that I knew existed. There could be a whole lot more by now. We weren't all close together, This is drawn close together because it's a very small, but the area was very large. But there were people out there, and we had addresses, but it was all, we picked our mail up all at the end of the street there in one big box. It wasn't, no mail person came down and delivered to us. We couldn't even get the police to come down most of the time because the dirt road was really bad. And my grandfather was one of the people that kept it manageable, kept it drivable for all of the other neighbors out there. I'm actually very disturbed that my aunt does not remember my grandmother's neighbors. I know my older sister would remember Keith and Jackie because my older sister got kicked by a horse. There's no way she's forgotten being kicked by a horse. But I also know that she will never speak out for me. So it's just my word against my aunt's. But my grandmother had neighbors. People lived out there. Not officially on the map, but they lived out there, and they still do. I'm going to address her question of, well, who had the trucks? Where were the trucks? Everybody had trucks. Everybody that lived down that road had a truck. And Kathy is aware of this because that road was dirt. It was unpaved. It was in Florida where it rains nearly constantly to turn it into mud and sludge. Everybody had trucks. The main reason the police couldn't come down to help us was because they had to wait for one of the pickups that they had at their disposal because their vehicles, other than the pickup, would not make it down that road. You had to have a truck or a four-wheel drive to get down that road. That was one of the things my grandparents liked about it. It kept people away. Apparently, your husband, one of them, might have robbed my grandmother once. And the main reason she knew it was family that did it was because thieves wouldn't go to that much trouble to find out if anybody lived down there to rob them, because the road was bad. My grandfather had a backhoe, and one of the other neighbors, Bill, had a tractor, and they worked together to take care of it. They even employed my father for a little bit to bring them some dirt to replenish the dirt because we were like sinking. If you were involved in my grandmother's life, you would be aware of all of this. Your questions prove you knew nothing about my grandmother. You knew nothing about her life when she was with my grandfather, Larry Gove. You knew nothing about that area that they lived in. You even went down that road multiple times to visit her, and you still have completely forgotten how treacherous it was. It's amazing what pills will do to you. I mean, it's like they've completely eaten out your brain. And it's sad. And I wish somebody would get you help.